Welcome to WHRO's Weekly Edition. I'm Jordan Christie.
And I'm Barry Graham.
We highlight the week's news and stories happening all over Hampton Roads. We've got you covered heading into the first August weekend. A Northern Virginia farm is taking a leap by growing vegetables next to solar panels. The goal is to heal a rift between farmers and solar producers, while also testing the future possibilities of state agriculture.
WHRO sits down with Chesapeake Health Director Nancy Welch, who decided to hang it up after 50 years of focus on public health.
It's a hard decision because I've thoroughly enjoyed and am motivated by public health.
And a new market in Norfolk's Berkley neighborhood is supplying black-grown produce to a longtime food desert. It's WHRO's Weekly Edition. The race is set for Virginia's 2nd congressional district after this week's Democratic primary. WHRO's Steve Welch reports 2 military veterans face one another in this seat with national implications.
Former Navy Commander Elaine Loria won over 3 other Democrats. Loria is the former representative for the district. She lost her seat in the 2022 midterm elections when Republicans took over the House. Loria will go against Representative Jen Kiggins, a former Navy helicopter pilot. Kiggins has held the seat since defeating Loria. The Loria campaign has tried to tie Kiggins to the Trump administration and cuts to the federal civilian workforce, which has had an outsized impact on Virginia. The district has one of the highest concentrations of veterans of any district in the country. It is widely considered to be in play for Democrats in the fall. Steve Walsh, WHRO News.
Stores may be more crowded this weekend as Virginians take advantage of the state's sales tax holiday. WHRO's Ashley White tells us what items are eligible.
Shoppers will be able to add back-to-school, emergency preparedness, and energy-efficient items to their carts, sales tax-free. Exempt school supplies include everything from binders to lunchboxes, clothes, and shoes. For emergency preparedness, portable generators, chainsaws, batteries, and first aid kits are included. Select Energy Star and WaterSense products, such as light bulbs, shower heads, and dishwashers, are also exempt. Most items have price limitations. Shoppers could save 5.3% to 7% on their purchases, according to the State Department of Taxation. The holiday begins at 12:01 a.m. Friday and ends at 11:59 p.m. Sunday. The exemption applies in-store and online. Ashley White, WHRO News.
A Northern Virginia farm has launched a unique experiment, growing vegetables alongside solar panels. It could relieve a painful rift between farmers and solar developers and reveal the future of Virginia agriculture. The Virginia Center for Investigative Journalism at WHRO's Elizabeth McGowan reports.
The Piedmont Environmental Council planted 42 solar panels on its Loudoun County farm amidst beds of squash, beans, and onions last fall. Since then, the clean energy generated has cut the farm's monthly electric bill from $200 to just $14. The idea is to convince Virginia crop and cattle farmers that solar power and agriculture can complement each other. Such energy independence would reduce power bills and contribute to the Commonwealth's ambitious renewable energy goals. Hundreds of farmers, solar developers, and curious visitors have flocked to the community farm at Roundabout Meadows. It also inspired a new law defining this practice, agrivoltaics. Over the last decade, rural communities have pushed back against a burgeoning solar industry. That led to conflicts over prime agricultural land. The land trust sought common ground. We wanted to ensure that the law moved agriculture forward, climate advisor Ashish Kapoor told VCIJ. We found a lot of buy-in when we listened to all voices. Elizabeth McGowan, VCIJ at WHRO.
NASA Langley Research Center last week celebrated the launch of a $57 million new wind tunnel, the first NASA has built in more than 40 years. WHRO's Catherine Hefner traveled to Hampton to take a deeper look at the tunnel.
The massive Flight Dynamics Research Facility replaces and combines the capacity of 2 nearby tunnels that were built nearly a century ago. The tunnel is 24 feet tall and 20 feet wide. Aerospace engineer and facility manager Corey Diebler says it's not too different from an indoor skydiving tunnel, but this one tests air and spacecraft under all sorts of conditions.
It also captures the dynamics of entry vehicles that are coming back to Earth or going to other planets or moons that have atmospheres.
At the recent launch celebration, officials demonstrated by tossing in a model of the Orion capsule suspended from a parachute.
And when you're ready.
Real work at the tunnel will include testing an air taxi and a probe planned to explore Venus. Katherine Hafner, WHRO News.
Please note the following story discusses pornography. Please use discretion while listening.
One of the largest creators of adult content online asked Governor Abigail Spanberger to end the Commonwealth's age verification law this week.
WVTF's Brad Kuttner says the letter comes after a scrape of state court data shows Virginia's 2023 law remains unused by parents.
If you live in Virginia or one of 29 other states and you wanted to access pornography online, things changed 3 years ago. That's when Virginia's age verification law kicked in, requiring would-be viewers to enter their personally identifying information into a third-party service to verify they're old enough to view the content. But that's not technically all that Virginia's law does. It also gives parents the right to file a lawsuit against a porn website if their child was harmed by viewing content there. Southside Republican Senator Bill Stanley is the author of the law.
What we're trying to do is keep this out of the hands of children. I think that's a responsible thing for Virginians to do, and that's why this is still a good law.
Stanley said it's still a good law because, in the years since its passage, no parent has filed suit, not one. But for supporters of the law, it's less about its use and more about its impact.
We've got a number of states that are passing this, and you know what happens is the porn company then says, we're not going to do business in your state, which of course is entirely what we were after, right? So we're doing it from the back door. We're starting with the kids, and then we'd have a national ban on pornography if we could.
That's President Donald Trump's Office of Management and Budget Director Russell Vought in a clandestine video recorded by The Intercept in 2024. And it's working here in the Commonwealth. Virginians still have to enter their private information to access porn, unless they find another way, and they are. Before the law went into effect, Virginia saw a spike in searches for VPNs or virtual private networks, which allows a user to conceal their physical location while surfing the net. Similar spikes occurred in other states where such laws went into effect. Mike Stabile is with the Free Speech Coalition, a trade group for adult content providers that seeks to create a, quote, safe and regulated market. He said, beyond the use of VPNs, there's still plenty of pornography on the internet. It's just being provided by those who aren't afraid of age verification laws, or any laws, really.
Traffic to platforms that are legal, that are compliant, that take down pirated content, that take down revenge porn, right, that take down other illegal types of content. Those platforms have lost traffic, and what we've seen is that traffic just shift to platforms that are less responsible, that are overseas. That seems to be parallel with minors as well, right? You're not protecting minors any better. The Virginia law does not protect minors. What it does is it shifts where they go.
And while we may not be able to know if kids are still accessing adult content online, there's still plenty of opportunities. According to an Axios Richmond report from late last year, only 4 of 57 adult sites on toppornsites.com asked for ages, with 65% called, quote, wide open by the outlet. That brings us back to the letter, authored by Pornhub and sent to Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger and lawmakers in those 29 other states, asking them to, quote, put into action policies that produce measurable improvements in child safety rather than legislation that grabs headlines. Spanberger's office declined to comment on the letter, but Pornhub points to law changes in the UK which required cell phone manufacturers, Apple's iPhone in particular, to have an onboard age verification system. Users verify their age on the device once and aren't asked again. Mike Stabile with the Free Speech Coalition says the system is working and he'd welcome something similar in the U.S.
If we can find a solution that blocks minors from accessing adult sites, but doesn't block adults, doesn't have this default block 95% of users, we're great with it.
And if the goal is healthy kids, Alexandria-based sex therapist Tamara Pincus suggests the Harvey Institute's 6 principles of sexual health, which include things like consent, honesty, shared values, and mutual pleasure.
It should feel like something you can tell people because it aligns with your values. You're not doing anything that you feel like is wrong. And if you're not sure what's wrong, let's have a conversation about it.
In Richmond, I'm Brad Kuttner.
Still ahead on Weekly Edition, Virginia Beach wants to bring in locals to the oceanfront as a getaway destination. But first, a few months ago, the Hampton Roads Planning District Commission asked people around the region what matters most to them. WHRO's Toby Cox tells us what they said.
Housing ranked the top issue for the 2,000 people in Hampton Roads who took the survey. Education ranked second. Eric Wahlberg with the commission says those were expected, but public transit coming in third was a bit of a surprise.
While transit is certainly important to the regional leadership, it doesn't rank this high. And this is exactly the kind of information we were after in doing the public survey.
Wahlberg says insights from the survey will help make sure leaders and residents are on the same page when it comes to regional priorities. Cities and local organizations already have plans in motion to address issues like housing, transit, and flooding. Wahlberg says next steps include documenting these ongoing projects and identifying gaps. Toby Cox, WHRO News.
Williamsburg James City County Schools on Tuesday released a proposed new school zone map after community feedback and, in some cases, sharp criticism. WHRO's Nick McNamara reports that the map makes several changes from May, but some of the concerns remain.
If approved, the proposal means about 16% of students would have to change schools, not including students already on schedule to graduate or move to middle or high school. But Tuesday's map makes no changes from what was proposed in May for schools such as James River and Matthew Whaley Elementaries. Just two schools where people in the community are concerned that concentrating students with greater needs could worsen achievement gaps and create uneven teacher workloads. Division leaders, though, say they have competing interests. They're seeking to balance demographic diversity, streamline bus routes, and lessen overcrowding, among other goals, ahead of opening new preschool centers in 2027. Administrators say resources will be reallocated as needed to serve student needs. The map is available online, and a survey launched Wednesday. Superintendent Daniel Kiever expects to have a final recommendation and plan on how to move students with minimal impact by October. Nick McNamara, WHRO News.
WJCC is a member of HREDA, which owns WHRO's broadcast license.
A new state report rings the alarm about Eastern Virginia's declining groundwater supply. WHRO's Catherine Hefner reports on where things currently stand.
Virginians have long been withdrawing groundwater from the regional aquifer faster than it can naturally recharge. Jay Ford with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation says the report shows we're now at a tipping point.
We are in total drawing down our aquifer, and that is that unsustainable line that we're predicted to slip into in the next couple of years.
There are several stressors. Paper mills, data centers, and other industrial sites use lots of water. Salt water pushed inland by rising sea levels is also contaminating the water. Ford says now is the time to take action, such as tightening permitting for groundwater withdrawal.
No one notices groundwater as long as your sink gives you clean drinking water, and the second it doesn't and everyone realizes we have a massive problem on our hands, it's too late.
Some state senators are calling for a special legislative session to address the issue. Catherine Hafner, WHRO News.
After nearly 50 years in public health, Chesapeake Health Director Nancy Welch is stepping down at the end of August.
WHRO health reporter I-Ching Wang sat down with Welch, who has led the department for more than 3 decades, to discuss how her childhood shaped her commitment to public health, her next steps, and what she hopes Chesapeake's next health director carries forward.
Dr. Welch, you started in public health in 1976. You are stepping down as Chesapeake's health director at the end of this month, just shy of 50 years in the field. Why now?
It's a hard decision because I've thoroughly enjoyed and am motivated by public health. But there are some medical components that I have to address. So that sort of contributed to the decision to officially retire. But I'm not officially retiring until the 2nd of January, although I will be no longer at the end of this month health director.
You have said your childhood made you a community person. How did that eventually lead you from pediatrics into public health?
I was the oldest girl and was called the little mama. And my parents always believed in me and how I could help with the family. And I helped with my younger siblings. We had the eye of a hurricane come right through while my mother delivered the baby at the hospital. So we had no electricity or anything. And this was back in the olden days where you had to make the formula every day. And fortunately, there was one person in the neighborhood who had a gas stove. So we went over every day and made the formula on their gas stove. And that's when you used evaporated milk and everything else, the old-fashioned way. But it was okay. I slept on the floor beside my new sister. And when she woke up at night to be fed, I simply warmed a bottle over a candle. And that worked. I'm totally certain that experience shaped me it directed me to pediatrics initially, and so I finished the pediatric residency, but I wasn't an office person. I was a community person. I didn't realize it was public health at the time. It was just helping people in the community.
You have led the Chesapeake Health Department for 35 years. What has kept you here? And what led you to create Healthy Chesapeake, a nonprofit focused on population health and community engagement alongside the health department?
I came here because it's one location. So I've been able to get to know the city council, the city leaders. I've been able to really spend time and get to know the resources in the city, because COVID kind of impacted negatively, as not just for us in the health department, but everyone, because people stayed isolated. So I'm going to be working with Healthy Chesapeake, which is our population component, and try to reestablish the kinds of relationships and activities we had.
What do you hope Chesapeake's next health director will carry forward?
I think that, number one, definitely community engagement, and that we have lots of opportunities for that. Also, locality engagement. The city has been very receptive to our presence on a number of the different organizations and groups that they have. So rebuilding that, the new health director will need to participate in that. It's been tough. So they're having to rebuild a lot here at the district. But fortunately, I have a lot of faith in our leadership here in the health department, and they'll be able to internally rebuild a lot before even we have a new health director, which is a plus.
That was WHRO health reporter Yi-Ching Wang speaking with outgoing Chesapeake Health Director Nancy Welch. Some in Virginia Beach hope marketing the oceanfront as a destination for locals could boost visitation. WHRO's John Doucette has more on the plan to bring in the home crowd.
Much of the marketing for the oceanfront is aimed outside the region. That's by design for a tourism industry that attracts 14.3 million visitors each year. City staff is finalizing recommendations about possible local marketing. Some business leaders hope it could increase foot traffic. Councilmember Worth Remick says marketing could be among city efforts to help the industry.
Let's really reach out and try to do the best we can to attract our own citizens from around the city to enjoy the resort, support local business, support our friends and neighbors.
Virginia Beach is also urging residents to sign up for a new voucher program offering $50 of free parking at the resort. Through July, more than 7,800 people had signed up. John Doucette, WHRO News.
A new market in Norfolk's Berkley neighborhood is working to bring black-grown produce to a longtime food desert. WHRO's Brian Saunders shares more.
Thelonious Cook leads the Mid-Atlantic Black Farmers Caucus. He launched the market at E. Palmer Supermarket with the help of Navy Johnson of the RVA Black Farmers Market. Cook says many people don't realize local black growers exist, and he wants this market to change that.
We're also empowering our community. We're circulating our dollars, investing back into local businesses.
He wants the market to build trust between local residents and the people growing their food. The Mid-Atlantic Black Farmers Market runs the first and third Saturday of each month through November. Brian Saunders, WHRO News.
It's county fair season, and last week in Louisa County, that meant rides, food, music, contests, livestock, and tradition. WMRA's Christine Cuter took a trip to the fairgrounds to learn what keeps people coming back year after year.
There are a few things that 9-year-old Emily Meyer wants people to know about pigs.
They're really cool animals and pretty fun to show. They can't sweat, and they're very, very smart. They're the second smartest animals in the world. You can get them to sit with treats, also lay down, and it feels like when you're talking to them, they'll really listen.
Louisa County has held its fair for more than 40 years. That's given 4-H kids like Emily a place to show the animals they raise and provided artists, farmers, and cooks a way to share their cultivars, too. Miss Louisa County Fair, Ellen Rawson, now an Oklahoma State University graduate who is making the rounds in her tiara, is a fair veteran, too.
I don't know, from the food to the people, you can't go wrong, so I love a funnel cake. That's my favorite part. And then the ag show is a great opportunity too, because not everybody, can go see a cow or a pig or sheep, and seeing these young people out here showing their animals. I did it when I was in high school and growing up from 9 to 18 years old. I was out here showing a pig or a cow. So there's still rides and games and everything like you'd see at other fairs, but I think the agriculture component that we have at the Louisa Fair is something that helps us stand out and really can educate the public in that way.
American county fairs originated in early 1800s New England when, as the Smithsonian Magazine reports, 2 particularly fine merino sheep imported from Spain attracted so much attention that their owner, Elkanah Watson, set up an exhibit under an elm tree. Not long after, Watson displayed cloth created from the creature's wool, an early example of animals, crafts, and capitalism that's become a staple of America's agricultural fairs. Watson is also credited with creating the fair éclat, a dazzling display, something 8-year-old Peyton Ann Camphisen did as she paraded Cupcake, her costume-wearing hen, around the park perimeter. Cupcake earned a blue ribbon for playing the xylophone as one of 16 entrants in the pet contest, which included talent and costume portions. Here's Peyton Ann's mom, Jennifer.
When I was her age, I used to bring my dog Biscuit, whose favorite trick and best trick was bang you're dead. She would lay over on her back and pretend she was dead. So I had told her about that. She'd seen pictures of that dog, and she said, well, I'd love to do the talent with the pet show. This was always the very best part of my whole childhood, the thing I look forward to the most, and I still do as an adult. And so it's been really, really fun to bring my kids and watch them do all the things I did and love so much and have such good memories of.
Louisa's 3-day fair wrapped up Saturday with clogging, several performances from the Dock Dogs, a canine aquatics group, a beard and mullet competition, and a livestock auction. 11-year-old Natalie Meyer showed a heifer and 2 hogs this year. She hoped her pigs would fetch a good price, money she'll save for college.
Last year I showed Granite and Soot. Granite was an Tamworth Cross and Soot was a Hampshire. Granite went for $2,600. Because I went up around the vendors here and they were so surprised that I came up and talked to them, so they bought my pig. I think they're going to go about 2,000 or at least above 1,000.
If you miss Louisa's Fair, there are plenty more to come later this month and next, including the Clark County Fair, which begins August 9th, the Rockingham County Fair, which begins August 10th, the Page Valley Fair in Luray on August 23rd, and the Shenandoah County Fair, which begins August 28th. The Highland County Fair, which will offer free admission to anyone age 75 and up to mark its 75th birthday, takes place August 29th to September 5th. Later this fall, the Virginia State Fair, which is expected to attract 250,000 visitors, takes place September 25th to October 4th at Meadow Event Park in Hanover County. I'm Christine Cuter.
You've been listening to WHRO's Weekly Edition. We had help today from WHRO's Toby Cox, John Doucette, Catherine Hefner, Nick McNamara, Brian Saunders, Steve Walsh, Yi-Ching Wang, and Ashley White.
VCIJ's Elizabeth McGowan, WBTF's Brad Kuttner, and WMRA's Christine Cuter. Also Connor Worley, who produced today's show.
A reminder that you can always catch full episodes on the Weekly Edition podcast feed.
You can get your news updates at WHRO.org and the WHRO Reports podcast feed.
For all of us at WHRO and WHRV, I'm Barry Graham.
And I'm Jordan Christie. Have a great weekend.